Welcome to Pop Culture Icons. I'm your host, Maya Starr. Today on Pop Culture Icons, imagine a 3-year-old preacher captivating a Mississippi porch, then picture a teenage mother in a hospital room, life tragically still. How does such profound early trauma birth a global icon of empowerment? Today, we unravel Oprah Winfrey's journey from a silenced voice to a beacon for millions, revealing how her deepest wounds became wisdom and challenging you to discover the power within your own story. Picture a small girl standing on an overturned bucket in rural Mississippi, her voice ringing out across the dusty yard. She's preaching with the fire of a seasoned minister, though she's barely 3 years old. The congregation, a collection of cornhusk dolls arranged carefully in the dirt. This was Oprah Winfrey's first audience, long before she would command the attention of millions. The year is 1954, and Kosciuszko, Mississippi holds little promise for an unwed teenage mother's daughter. But within this child burns something extraordinary. You can see it in her eyes as she delivers those memorized sermons with uncanny precision. The same eyes that would later pierce through television screens and into the hearts of viewers worldwide. Yet life had other plans before that triumph. Fast forward 14 years and we find a different scene. A sterile hospital room. A teenage Oprah cradles her newborn son, who lives only a few brief moments. The contrast between that passionate child preacher and this devastated young mother seems impossible to bridge. But this moment, like so many others in her life, would become not an ending but a beginning. You might think you know hardship, but Oprah's early years read like a catalog of childhood traumas. Shuttled between her grandmother's farm and her mother's Milwaukee apartment, she encountered poverty, neglect, and sexual abuse. The warm, cornbread-scented kitchen of her grandmother's home gave way to cold urban chaos. Yet in each environment, she found ways to speak her truth. Books became her first real audience. While other children played, young Oprah read voraciously, earning the nickname "the Preacher" for her ability to recite Bible verses at church. The local grocery store owner would listen to her recite the books she'd read, rewarding her with fresh fruit. These small moments of recognition fed something crucial in her soul. The transition to Nashville brought structure through her father's discipline, but also opportunity. Here, Oprah began to shape her natural gifts into something more. At 19, she became the first Black female news anchor at WLAC-TV. Think about that for a moment. In the 1970s South, a teenage girl broke through barriers that had stood for generations. But success brought its own challenges. The newsroom demanded she fit a certain mold. Speak this way, look that way, don't be too emotional, don't connect too deeply with your stories. Every yes in her career came with a but attached. Yes, you can be on television, but you must contain your natural empathy. Yes, you can succeed, but you must follow our rules. The real revolution began in Chicago. When Oprah took over a struggling morning show, she did something unprecedented. Instead of maintaining professional distance, she leaned into connection. Rather than reading from a script, she spoke from her heart. The ratings skyrocketed. What happened next transformed not just television, but the way America talked about itself. The Oprah Winfrey Show became a platform where taboo topics found voice. Sexual abuse, mental health, racism, topics that polite society preferred to ignore suddenly had a primetime spotlight. You could feel the cultural shift happening in real time. But this authenticity came at a price. Critics called her show trash TV. Network executives worried she was pushing too far, too fast. Yet Oprah understood something fundamental about human connection. Our wounds, when shared with courage, become bridges to understanding. If you're enjoying pop culture icons, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, The Fame Formula. Discover how unknowns like Elon, Taylor Swift, and Beyoncé became cultural phenomena. Now, back to the episode. In 1986, Oprah made a decision that would reshape media forever. She founded Harpo Productions, becoming the first African-American woman to own her own production company. Think about the audacity of that move. In an industry dominated by white men, she didn't just want a seat at the table. She built her own table. The Oprah effect became a cultural phenomenon. Books she recommended became instant bestsellers. Products she endorsed flew off shelves. But more importantly, conversations she started at her kitchen table set rippled through millions of homes across America. Consider the 1994 episode where she revealed her own childhood abuse. The studio fell silent as she shared her story. In living rooms across America, survivors found permission to speak their truth. The National Child Protection Act, which she championed, became law that same year. This wasn't just television anymore. This was revolution through revelation. Today, Oprah's influence extends far beyond media. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa stands as testament to her belief in education's transformative power. Her philanthropic work has touched countless lives, but perhaps her greatest gift is showing us how to turn personal pain into public purpose. Here's what Oprah's journey teaches us, and it's not about becoming a media mogul. It's about something far more fundamental. The courage to speak your truth can transform not just your life, but the lives of others. That little girl on the bucket in Mississippi didn't know she would change the world. She just knew she had something to say. So here's your challenge. What truth are you holding back? What story inside you needs to be told? Oprah's life shows us that our deepest wounds, when transformed through courage and compassion, become our greatest gifts to the world. Your voice, like hers, has power. The question isn't whether you'll use it, but how and when. Remember that hospital room where a teenage Oprah held her lost child. That moment could have silenced her. Instead, it became part of a larger story of healing and hope. Your struggles, too, are not the end of your story. They're the beginning of your voice. The world doesn't need another Oprah Winfrey. It needs you, with your unique story, your distinctive voice, and your particular courage to speak truth to power. Whether your audience is a collection of cornhusk dolls or a worldwide platform, your voice matters. The only question is, what will you do with it? On the next episode of Pop Culture Icons, imagine if the power of one voice could shake an entire generation. After witnessing Oprah's journey from oppression to empowerment, you're left wondering, what happens when that voice becomes a roar? Next week, we delve into the story of someone who didn't just find his voice, but inadvertently became its echo chamber. This is Joe Rogan's Tale, and it's about to challenge everything you thought you knew about authenticity and free speech in our ever-evolving digital age. Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code, or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, The Fame Formula. 7 days, 7 brilliant tactics. Learn the mindset to go from invisible to influential using the dark arts of fame engineering. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily8.com/PCI. Thanks for watching.